Okay, so if you're watching this video, I assume that you probably watched the video that I made earlier today of purchasing and unboxing of the 3080 video card. So basically, there were a couple of stories that caught my eye because, see, the crazy thing about nowadays is that we don't understand what's going on until we can take a step away from a situation and look back at it and see the bigger picture. So basically, there were two stories that caught my attention because what happened was I got a notice from somebody who said, yeah, that there were scalpers who were on eBay and they were reselling these cards for like $80,000 and whatnot. And basically, these stories are all over because the sad thing about it is, and I'm going to get to that in a minute, a lot of people came to these stores. They came completely unorganized. The stores were completely unorganized. A lot of people waited online. Some people waited online at these stores overnight, and most of them were turned away when they finally realized that either the store had nothing in stock or the stores only had maybe 15, possibly 20 units. But for the most part, because they had been building so much hype for this graphic card for so long, what ended up happening was a lot of people were really interested, and the handling of this entire sale was so poor that what ended up happening is, in some cases, you had some people who were somehow able to buy multiple cards and therefore be able to turn around and scalp them. Or you had the people who came, waited, and got completely turned away and bought nothing because they couldn't get anything. So first of all, there were a couple of people who kept asking questions on my video that I just did about the 3080. And also, there were some people who kept on questioning me about the fact that they had seen me say that I was going to buy a 3090. Well, first of all, I didn't know that the 3080 sale was going to go this poorly. So personally, I didn't even really want a 3080. I just bought it because I figured that with all of the hype that had gone into it, that it was going to be the big thing. And then I wasn't very sure about the 3090 because the thing about it is there's the 3090 Founders Edition and then there's the 3090 Kingpin. Now, from what I had seen, the 3090 Kingpin was supposed to be a 2-slot card. So I was really interested in that rather than getting the Founders Edition. But then when I started to see how much these people were reselling the 3080s for, because as you can see, this is the 3090 Kingpin, and this is only 2 slots, wherein if you were going to buy the 3090, what is it called? The 3090 Founders Edition. The 3090's Founders Edition is so big until it actually takes up 3 slots, and I consider that a problem because I actually have a USB card in a PCI slot, and I don't want to have a 3-slot card. I only want to have 2 slots. So the Kingpin actually makes more sense for me. If I go to the store and I buy a 3090, and mind you, the price is not an issue considering the fact that I'm using a credit card. So it's just like when I bought my 2080 Ti. It's like the price is not an issue. I can pay whatever they're asking for it. I could have bought an RTX Titan. It wouldn't have really mattered. All it means is that you just have to pay it back later. Thing about it is there was no demand for the Titan really, so I just got the 2080 Ti. And there's really wasn't that much demand for that either because the 2080 Super is the one that everybody was going after. But this was just one story that I wanted to bring to your attention. The first one was the fact that these scalpers on eBay were going crazy. So I had people who were asking me, they're like, hey, you know what? You could sell your card on eBay and you could make $80,000 because it was earlier today. I was looking at the bid and they were talking about $80,000. My problem was when I see bids like that, I don't trust them because a lot of times the person I was talking to, I told him, it's like you have bots trying to bid up these things and then they'll cancel at the last second. Because I've tried to scalp iPhones before. When I would buy iPhones, I used to buy 4 iPhones at a time. I used to keep one, give my girlfriend one, and then sell the other 2. And then I'd make back so much money until the one that I gave her was paid for, and so was mine. So that was one way of doing it. But I stopped doing that because Apple, what they did was they stopped having people show up online and just buy when they show up online. Because what Apple was doing was you just show up, wait in line, and then you'd be able to buy 2. what they started doing was having you pre-order them, which means that when you pre-order, they know exactly how many units have to go to each store, and nobody comes there and waits there and then gets turned away upset. So if you pre-order it, they eliminated the lines. And what I believe they started doing, they started doing that with the iPhone 7 Plus, because with the iPhone 6, they had a massive surge of Chinese buyers who were buying the phones up and then scalping them back to China. And when they were shipping them back to China, this is in the news, and I also covered it on launch day because I made a launch day video of camping out at an Apple store from night to morning. But in any event, they were scalping the things, shipping them back to China, and then the Chinese authorities were actually confiscating them because they didn't allow them to come back, and they had so many coming back. The Chinese government itself, the PRC government, was actually confiscating them. So, bottom line is this. eBay had a lot of shady deals going on. I didn't really like what I was seeing. So, I stayed away from that. I was like, listen, I don't want no part of that. I don't even feel like having to go through the fact that, imagine if you sell something on eBay, even if this was legit, if you sell something for $80,000, a lot of that money has to, first of all, go to taxation. And then on top of that, has to go to eBay's PayPal, because you're buying it through PayPal, and PayPal's taking a cut of that money too. Now, granted, you'd be making so much more money if this was legit. I personally didn't trust it. It had 92 bids. I didn't trust it. The second thing I wanted to bring your attention to was that there's a story on PC Mag about how a bot bought dozens of RTX 3080 units before the customers could get them. Now, first of all, people were asking me questions about Best Buy, and they were asking me questions about Micro Center, because originally I said I was going to Micro Center, and also they were asking me questions about Best Buy. So I'll start with Best Buy. First of all, Best Buy had 0 units. Now, what's weird about it is on Best Buy's website, Best Buy's website, they claimed that they would have these things available. Let's see, 3080. I'll just type 3080. They claimed that they would have these things available, and they led people to believe that they were, oh my God. Yeah, you see, they led people to believe that they were going to have these things available. And by the way, these reviews are fakes, okay? So anybody who's putting in these reviews right now, these things are fake, and it's a lot of pissed off people who are mad that Best Buy didn't have any. What's this? Who is playing games? Been buying Nvidia, blah, blah, blah. These are fake reviews. Best Buy should just, look at this. You see, when I say these are fake, a lot of times I like to go and read the product reviews. Because when you read the product reviews, it's easy to spot fakes. But look what they did. They came and they maligned Best Buy. So with Best Buy, first of all, I don't like Best Buy anyway. I used to work for Best Buy, and I never liked their practices. And this is just what I'm talking about. I'll tell you about that in a second. But look at this. They're talking about what a complete failure to roll out this product. It was a waste of time to even look. How many were actually shipped to retailers in the United States? Maybe 3. Well, actually, my friend, what is this, Jinkers? The answer is 0. And I'll get to that in a second. Best Buy loves scalpers, hates its actual customer. Card wasn't even available. Okay, so you see where this is going. All of these people who are here, none of them, I'll say it like this, if not none of them, very few of these people actually purchased these cards. What you're reading right now are angry reviews, and I'm pretty sure look at this, Viper M. Best Buy can suck my butt coming Black Friday. These cards should have never been published until they were made available. Okay. Nomad. What a horrible product line. So, okay. I don't have to keep going with this. You can read these yourself. What happened was I showed up at Best Buy. There was 11 people online. The guy who had a Magnolia shirt in my video, he told me that there were none in stock. But what was weird was on the Best Buy website, what we saw all of these things, product available on September 17th. What happened was the guy told me, I don't know what all these people are waiting for because we have none in stock. And I was like, well, are you sure you're not getting a shipment later? And he was like, no. And now, mind you, this was between 9 and 10. Best Buy was slotted to open at 10. Best Buy listed all of these cards, making people believe that they had these cards in stock. They had none of these cards in stock. So what I got did not come from Best Buy. So I'm just going to clear up that question that people kept asking me. Best Buy had 0 in stock. Micro Center, now what I was told, insider that I have there, they told me that they had 2 cards. When he checked it first, he only had 2. A shipment came in at about 10 o'clock. So they had a shipment come in almost at the opening of the store at Micro Center. Micro Center ended up getting 10 of these things initially, or at least the Micro Center I was at. So they ended up getting 10 initially. And after that 10 came in, as you saw in my video, there was still a bunch of people waiting online. There was a second shipment a little bit later, within maybe an hour or 2, and they ended up getting a second shipment. And with that second shipment, Micro Center ended up having enough to actually sell, I'll say, about 1/3 the people who showed up. So within both of those shipments, I was told that the first shipment was 15 and the next shipment was like 10. Add that all together, and you're still coming out with less than 30. So there was 100 people on that line in my video, but there was less than 30 cards for them. Now, I also mentioned that I had a second person waiting to just as a backup plan. My backup plan was given a voucher. I might still have a photo of the voucher. Give me 1 second. But my backup plan had a voucher. And with that voucher, give me 1 second. With that voucher that my backup plan had, what we were able to do was get the thing, despite the fact that, Jesus Christ, where's these photos? Where do they keep photos? I would like to show you the voucher, but I'm having a little bit of trouble because I don't. Oh wait, you know what? I know where I have one. I have one in my community profile because I was blogging about this all day. So anyway, the Micro Center that they were near, not my Micro Center, but their Micro Center. Their Micro Center gave my backup plan a voucher, and with that voucher, he was able to get a card. Now, there was a second person waiting with my backup plan, and my backup plan could have gotten more than one, but it would have only been one allowed person. See, this is what that Micro Center in Brooklyn looked like. And I don't know if I have a picture of the... Oh, there it is. Yeah, that's what the voucher looked like. So the Micro Center, they must have realized that they didn't want these people waiting outside. They didn't want these people camping. So what they did was they created a voucher in order to give them. Mind you, this voucher code is deleted by now out of the system, so don't even bother trying to use it. But what they did was they gave them a voucher code, and this was Micro Center. Best Buy gave you nothing. Best Buy's Magnolia guy told me that they don't like giving out vouchers. They only do it for the PlayStation and Xbox releases and possible Nintendo releases, right? The thing that bothers me about looking at this is I don't know which card I'm getting. Like, did they put a check mark? When this was given to my backup plan, no check mark was given. Now, obviously, you're not getting a 3090 because that doesn't come out until the 24th. That's like next week. I think that's next week, Wednesday or Thursday. The 3070 and the 3080, I was told at Micro Center that they didn't have any 3070s. I was told that every single unit they sold was a 3080. So they said they had no 3070s, they only had 3080s, and the 3090 doesn't even come out till next week. Now, considering the 3090 is twice the price of the 3080, I'm going to go back to Micro Center. I'm going to see if I can get a 3090. But to answer another question, they had they had no Founders Edition cards. They only had MSI, and they only had EVGA. That's the reason why the video that I made showed that I bought the EVGA XC3, and the only other card that I could have gotten from them would have been the MSI 3080 Gaming Trio Triple Fan. So each card that they sold had a triple fan. Now, to go into that really quickly, I could talk about that later. But that's the bottom line. They had no Founders Editions at all. That's what I was told. and the only card you could get was the MSI and the EVGA XC3. Now, when the 2080 Ti was released, and as you can see, this is my 2080 Ti black EVGA. I like EVGA. Some people don't like EVGA, but I actually like their product. I like their PSUs, and I like their overall product. If I was going to choose a different case design than the Alienware Triad, I would probably buy an EVGA case. But anyway, when I bought the 2080 Ti Black, I actually waited a while before bothering to get it. I bought this card back last November because they were running a special with Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Because right before I had this card, I had already had a card before that, and I didn't feel like actually upgrading to RTX because I hadn't seen anything I really wanted that had ray tracing. So anyway, when Micro Center released these cards, the 2000 series, they had the 2080s, the 2070s, and whatnot, right? These cards were sold out for a very long time, specifically because of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency mining. Cryptocurrency mining created a situation where Micro Center had to basically say you're only allowed to have 2 cards and that's it. You're not allowed to have more than 2. This time around, they said we can only have 1 per household, which they should have done in the first place. Chances are, it's like you don't have multiple people buying this many cards on, like, it doesn't make sense. The only thing that does make sense is that somebody's buying these things to scalp them. So what ended up happening was Best Buy sold out, Micro Center sold out, everybody else basically sold out almost immediately. And the only cards really left over were the 2080 Ti's, and nobody really wanted to buy those because they were so expensive. When these things first came out, these things were like $1,200. Prices started to drop, but prices never really got back to the $999 that they claimed the 2080 Ti was supposed to be. The Founders Edition was supposed to be about an even $1,000, and this was back in the height of crypto mining, 2017, when these things were basically released. But even though they were supposed to be $999, they actually came into the store, and Micro Center had stamps on them for $1,199 or something like that. They had, at that point, they had no Founders Edition cards, and they only had, I believe, EVGA, MSI, Gigabyte, and whatnot. Now, personally, I'm not interested in MSI, Zotac, Gigabyte. When I look at those things, I see cheapness. I don't like them. So MSI, Zotac, Gigabyte, Asus, I usually don't buy their cards. I just don't buy them. I know a lot of other people have bought them. I know that the initial run of 2080 Ti's had a lot of return issues with their Founders Edition cards. I think maybe they had rushed it out a little too quick and they hadn't tested things properly. I think they had some overheating issues. Overall, I've had no problems with my 2080 Ti, which, by the way, is an EVGA model. And I've had no problems with mine, but other people had problems with theirs initially, and that sent a lot of these things back. Now, I've noticed a couple of things. The 3080 that I just got picked up today, that 3080 does not have a USB port. From what I'm hearing, they've gotten rid of SLI. So there is, supposedly SLI is dead now. So that means that you're not linking up multiple cards. You're only using one card. So you don't have SLI. You don't have the USB-C port for linking up virtual headgear that uses USB-C. And then the other thing I've noticed is that all of the third-party cards have 3 fans, which is obviously because this new GPU puts out more heat than the last one, the 2080 Ti. It puts out more TDP. It puts out more thermal. So they, instead of going with 2 fans, they pretty much all seem to be going with 3. Now, personally, for my next computer build, I don't want fans at all. I'm going to have liquid cooling because even with the 2080 Ti that I had replaced, I have a FTW3 that has the built-in hybrid liquid cooler. It keeps temperatures much lower than I'm even noticing with this 3080 using the XC3, the 3 fans. So some people keep asking me, they're like, oh, how are the thermals on your card? And I'm saying, the thermals are okay and they're being managed well, but I think that running at close to 70 degrees when you're in 1440p or 4K, I think that's actually kind of high. So bottom line is that the 2080 Ti has served me pretty well, but what ultimately forced me, like some people ask, well, why did you buy a 3080? What forced me to go out and buy that was the fact that they were basically promising at EVGA, they were promising that you're going to get way more power than a 2080 Ti for considerably less money. Now, purchased with the warranty and all this card actually came out to over $1,000. So, even though the sticker price on this thing is $769, when you factor in the tax and you factor in the price of any warranties, you're basically still looking at about $1,000, which to me, it wasn't a big deal. You know, there's a lot of people online who are making fun of 2080 Ti owners. And my question to the people who are making fun of people and trolling them is like, listen, if I ran out and bought a $1,200 card with tax, what makes you think that I can't do it again? And my thing is, if these companies were smart, what they should do is release these things around tax season so that this way when people are getting their tax returns, they would more than likely sucker themselves into spending that money and buying computer upgrades. The other thing I could also say is that if you're smart about purchasing this equipment and you're filing 1099, especially if you're a YouTuber and you're getting monetized and paid, what you do, it's a very simple cycle with me because I try to figure out how to make money on everything. What you do, you buy a card, you take the receipt to your CPA. Your CPA is going to get you a business tax deduction on that card. And by the way, you can also get a school tax deduction as school equipment, considering the fact that some people use these things for graphic design. But the bottom line is, no matter how you slice it, this is a computer, it's computer equipment. So any deduction that you would normally get for a computer or computer equipment, whether you're business or school, or as a student, you can get those business tax deductions, and that will give you a write-off on your taxes, which will allow you to get more money back. Now, I like to triple dip. When I use a credit card, I'm not just using a credit card just to use it. I'm using a credit card because what you're talking about here is over $1,000 worth of points. And as you know, I only fly business class because I'm a big guy and I like having those beautiful stewardesses serving me nonstop alcohol and food anytime I feel like it. It's all you can eat when you're on business class. It's all you can drink. So if I want, I can wake up like everybody else is asleep in economy, and all I got to do is say, "Excuse me, stewardess. Yes, please bring me your wine menu." And I'm sitting there choosing wines that I've never had before, just want to try. And I'm sitting there at 35,000 feet and I'm sipping the wine and I'm watching Lethal Weapon and just chilling. And the stewardesses love to serve you. This is the reason why I purchase everything on a credit card. I save up those points. I fly business class only. So here you have scalpers and you've got people waiting in line to buy these things, not even to use them, just trying to flip them. Well, technically that's the free market. If you buy something, you have every right to resell it. But we've become so selfish and so like just not apathetic to other people that we're there to buy these things. Some people are there to capitalize off them. Some people are actually there to use them. But what bothers me is that the people who showed up loyally to wait to both Micro Center and Best Buy, there was no coherent, organized strategy planned to make sure that the people who showed up would get their orders filled. And as far as I'm concerned, I applaud Apple for dealing with this properly and creating a pre-order system. And I believe that what you should do if you're a gamer and you want to show them that you are angry about it and you don't want this to happen again, because keep in mind, the 3090 is still coming and so is the 3070s. But I want you to basically say during a launch day, whether it's PS5 or Xbox Series X or whatever, that they are going to make sure that they have vouchers ready. And and the sad thing is, if you don't work together, you can't force them to do anything. If some of you say, yeah, well, I refuse to shop here and I'm going to boycott you, but other people shop there, they'll sell all of these things as if you never existed. Because you got to understand, when thousands of people are waiting for 50 products ultimately the store doesn't give a shit. They're going to sell them one way or another. So for these people who are bombing the Best Buy site with reviews that are negative, I totally understand how you feel. For the people who do the same thing to Micro Center, I totally understand how you feel. This is how people have been ever since Black Friday started, getting interesting, where people were showing up trying to buy products and they only had 20 in the store. I think lawsuits came out behind that, and I think stores in general were forced to handle things differently. Now, as for me, as you know, you probably saw the video, I managed to get one, which is amazing when you consider the scalping and you consider the graft and you consider these people who are using hacking robots on the internet in order to get these things and buy up entire stockpiles of them, which if the store's website had been better designed, this would not have been possible. There's no way a human can compete with a well-programmed bot, and there's just no way you can compete, because ultimately the computer can do things faster than you can. Like, the computer can hit this instantaneously 60 or 70 times, and you're stuck typing in a credit card number, and by the time you're done, it's over and it's game over. I was lucky enough to buy one. So some people ask me, okay, is it everything that I expected? Yes, it's exactly what I expected. The reviews that I've seen, the benchmarks I've seen, they're saying this thing basically does everything the 2080 Ti does plus more. I was a little disappointed by seeing what it couldn't do in Microsoft Flight Simulator and what it couldn't do supposedly in Crysis Remastered. But Crysis Remastered is coming out very shortly, because right now it's 11/19. So Crysis Remastered is going to start yet another benchmarking wave, since most games like Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Doom Eternal, those games are old and they're so well optimized until they can basically run on anything. So basically that's what I wanted to say. I'm very disappointed by this launch day. It's one thing for me to get what I want. I hate seeing so many people waiting there to be able to get something and they can't get it. I hope that you're going to either write angry letters to Best Buy or whatever. Whoever jaded you, I hope that you're willing to write angry letters to them to demand that the management has a pre-order system of some type. I think it may be a little bit of an issue, because the problem is they can't sell or they can't organize what they don't have in inventory. And the way that these game companies do is they give them stuff at like the last minute. Because as far as I'm concerned, if they knew that they were going to be selling these things from the opening of the store on September 17th, then they should have had these things in stock on September 10th. These things should have been waiting in the storeroom, waiting to sell. That's not how they're doing it lately. And I think part of it is because there's a lot of YouTubers who get stuff early, or there's a lot of vloggers who get stuff early, and they try to put embargoes on people so that this way you can't say anything, especially if there's a possibility it's not a good product. And they want these things to sell, and they don't want anybody to know whether they're good or not before they actually sell. Fortunately, the embargo was lifted yesterday. Reviews came out, and the reviews were, for the most part, extremely positive, and, people rushed out today to buy one based on the reviews. I'm, again, disappointed that I had to go through so much to get one. If I had been buying an iPhone 12 right now, all I would have had to do is go on the website, pre-order the iPhone, and then show up that day. I don't even need to have a voucher in hand, because the information's already in the computer and they know that I'm coming, and all they do is they just check your ID and then they sell you the phone that you've already pre-ordered, or the phones that you pre-ordered. That is how it's supposed to be done. So again, this whole thing was a debacle, and this thing about a bot buying these things up, I think that's just absolutely ridiculous, and it's an insult to the shoppers. So if you agree with me, which as far as I'm concerned, everybody should agree with me, period. Now, if you disagree with me, go ahead and leave me a comment down below and say you disagree with me, and you can tell me why. I really don't believe anybody on any level should be able to disagree with me, with the exception of probably like the greedy people who are making this stuff and profiting. But I believe that all consumers should agree with me when I'm saying this, and that's why you should support me for president.